He emerged from the dusty afternoon haze of Lagos traffic like a small, determined comet, 12-year-old Chinedu, his chest heaving, one arm cradling a chipped metal tray heaped with freshly baked loaves. Each loaf was still warm, its sugar-glazed crust brittling at the edges. He darted among swaying danfos and blaring horns, calling out in a thin, reedy voice that trembled with equal parts hope and desperation, "Buy sweet bread. Buy sweet bread." Around him the street pulsed with life and danger. Motorcycles zipped by like angry hornets. Jostling passengers clambered onto buses, spilling coins and curses. Other bread sellers, older boys with fierce eyes, shouted over his cries, trying to muscle their trays of rolls onto the windscreen of incoming buses. Chinedu pushed through the crush, his spotted shorts clinging to his slender legs, sweat glinting on his forehead. He spotted an open window on a sleek, green and white bus idling at the curb. Summoning every ounce of youthful bravado, he dashed forward, loaves clattering against the metal edge of his tray. But as he lunged, the roar of an engine sliced behind him, cold, unyielding. He never saw the bus barreling from the opposite direction. A violent crack, the snap of metal, then Chinedu's world flipped sideways. He felt himself hurled into the air, his breath stolen. His tray flew free, loaves scattering like wounded birds across the hot asphalt. The boys around him froze, some ducking, some too shocked to move. When he landed, there was a searing pain in his calf and thigh. The asphalt tugged at his skin, scraping jagged lines across his leg. He lay still for a heartbeat, the world spinning. Then came the sob, low, choked. He opened his eyes to a cacophony of curses and shouts. The driver of the bus that hit him, a burly man with a face like a thundercloud, jumped down with a roar. His fist slammed into the roof. "What kind of fool dashes in front of my bus without looking?" he bellowed, advancing on Chinedu. Terror constricted the boy's throat. His tears fell, salty and hot. "I'm sorry, sir, I'm sorry," he whimpered. "Oh, my stepmother will kill me today, please forgive me." The driver's nostrils flared as he bent down, his eyes flicking to the crimson stain spreading across Chinedu's shorts. Yet, inexplicably, the man's anger wavered when he noticed the gash on the boy's leg. Instead of fury, a grim pity formed in his gaze. Chinedu's only thought was of the tray, loaves crushed flat under speeding tires, sugar and bread mingling with grit and oil. my bread," he wailed, crawling toward the ruined carbuncles of his livelihood. Moved by something deep and sudden, the driver grabbed Chinedu's shoulder, steering him back. "Enough," he growled, but his voice had lost its edge. "Forget the bread." "But, my stepmother," Chinedu's voice cracked. "I'll pay for every single loaf, and I'll make sure you get treated." The driver lifted him easily, as if the small frame were weightless. He strode across the street, weaving through panicked motorists to a tiny pharmacy tucked between a wig shop and a moldering tea stall. Inside, the white walls hummed with fluorescent light. Chinedu's panic gave way to a dull shock as the pharmacist knelt, cleaning the wound with antiseptic that stung like fire. Chinedu's breath caught in sobs, but the driver stood guard, arms folded, eyes flicking to the doorway. When the pharmacist bandaged him, thick, stained strips of cloth wrapping protective layers around the injury, Chinedu trembled, partly from pain, partly from shame. Finally, the driver paid in crisp notes and gently lifted the still weeping boy. "Come on," he said. "We're going home." They walked down a narrow street lined with low concrete houses and rust-colored fences. Children playing marbles paused to stare. A chicken strutted across the road, oblivious to the tragedy that had unfolded only minutes before. At a small compound, the man rapped on a battered wooden door. It swung open to reveal a woman whose face was a mask of habitual impatience. Her arms, leathery and strong from years of carrying heavy trays of bread, crossed as she surveyed the pair. "There you are," she snapped, eyes darting to Chinedu's bandaged leg. Where is my tray? Where is my money? The driver gently steered Chinedu behind him. Ma'am, he said in a calm, authoritative tone, this boy was hit by my bus. He could have died in the street. The woman's lips curled into a sneer. I don't care about his leg. That loaf tray cost me 70 naira, where is it? She made a move as if to push past the driver and reach Chinedu. But the driver planted himself in her path and, with quiet force, pressed a thick wad of notes into her hand. The woman's eyes widened, first in surprise, then in greed, as she counted. The sum was generous, far more than the value of one broken tray. This is to cover every loaf you lost, the driver said. And the ones he still has. Now leave him be. For a moment she stood frozen, the money fluttering between her fingers like a prize. Then she shoved the notes into her ample purse. And who are you? She demanded, voice sharper now that the prize was hers. Why did you bring this boy to me? What's your business with my stepson? The driver's stern gaze met hers. My business is this child's life, he said softly. You'll find I take that very seriously. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the courtyard. Crickets began their evening song. Chinedu, still trembling, looked up at the driver with a mixture of gratitude and wonder. And in that pregnant silence, the woman's eyes flicked back and forth between them, money, injury, responsibility, and something she hadn't been prepared to face, the real cost of the life she was forcing a child to live. End of Scene 1. This story continues in Scene 2. Thank you for watching. Please come back for the continuation of this touching story to find out issues like, why was this young boy selling bread instead of being in school? Where are his parents? What happens to him next? Please do us a favor by leaving comments below regarding what you think about this video and what other types of content you think we should produce on this channel for your consumption. You should also encourage us by liking, sharing and subscribing to this channel before leaving. Thanks for visiting the Myths and Stories from Africa channel.